Welcome back to Only the Over episode 5. Today on this great Wednesday morning. Today, obviously, week 4 of the NFL. Week 4, I think, right? I think so. NFL football games. What week was it? Week 4. Yes, obviously, week 4. Week 4 of the NFL is over. We had some Monday night games. We saw the Titans actually want to throw it away, but they ended up winning. We saw the Lions beat the Seahawks, and then we saw a bunch of games, obviously, on Sunday that were fantastic. So, first off, let's get into it. Surprises of the week. First game up, Buccaneers 33, Eagles 16. The Bucs are back. By far, they're the best team in the NFC South. I don't think there's anyone really to compete with them. Maybe later in the year, the Falcons will make a run. But the Buccaneers are bouncing back after that horrible loss against Denver the week prior. Obviously, Buccaneers 33, Eagles 16. Baker Mayfield, 30 for 47, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 8 receptions for 94 yards, a touchdown. Bucky Irving, 10 carries, 49 yards for a touchdown. And weirdly, Bucky Irving and Rachaad White had the same line, but Rachaad White did not have a touchdown. So Rachaad White also went 10 carries for 49 yards. So that's pretty cool. Secondly, in this game, are the Eagles bad? I think the Eagles are bad. I mean, obviously their offense is ridden with injuries, but their defense is just not playing well. Their defense is not playing well. Apparently, Darius Slay came out. People started talking trash, and then he decided to flex his achievements after losing by this much to the Buccaneers. So that's fantastic. So anyways, Jalen Hurts had a horrible game, 18 for 30, 158 yards and a touchdown. Saquon did okay on the ground, 10 carries for 84 yards. And then their only receiving standout was Dallas Goedert, 7 receptions for 62 yards. They do not have a starting receiver right now. And honestly, that Jahan Dotson trade that they did with the Commanders, a third-round pick for Jahan Dotson, he is absolutely horrific at the receiving position. So, yeah, the Commanders definitely got a steal in that trade. Second game, Commanders 42, Cardinals 14. This is a surprise for me because the Commanders may actually be a serious team. Not 100% sure if this is a legit thing, but the Commanders may actually be a serious team. Jaden Daniels, 26 for 30, amazing completion percentage. That's been the story all season. 233 yards, a touchdown and a pick, but also 8 carries for 47 yards and a rushing touchdown. So 2 total touchdowns for Jaden Daniels. Brian Robertson Jr. had an amazing game, 21 carries for 101 yards and a touchdown. Jeremy McNichols also had a pretty good game. 8 carries for 68 yards, but very efficient scoring for 2 rushing touchdowns. Olamide Zacchaeus, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I've never seen this guy in my life, but he had 6 receptions for 85 yards, and also Terry McLaurin had 7 receptions for 52 yards and a touchdown. So the Commanders may be rolling. I do not know who they play. Actually, let me look this up. Commanders schedule. Let me look this up. They play the Browns next and the Ravens the following week. So Browns, I think they'll win. Ravens will be interesting, but then they go Commanders, Bears, Giants. So they very easily, I think, what are they? Let's see. They're 1-2. They're 3-1. They could be 4-1 after next week. 4-2 after these next 2 weeks, and then 5-6. They could be 7-2 after their game against the Giants, which could very easily happen. That is a crazy turnaround. That could very easily happen. The Panthers, Bears, and Giants are just not good teams. The Bears have a good defense, so that could be a struggle for them. But I don't think they'll beat the Ravens in the next 2 weeks, but they'll beat the Browns next week. So, I think the Commanders could be sitting really, really, really pretty at the beginning of November, which is, I don't think I'd ever say that ever about the Commanders, but weirder things have happened. Yes, the Cardinals, I don't know why I thought this was a surprise. I thought the Cardinals were good. Apparently they're bad again, which is fantastic. Kyler Murray went 16 for 22, 142 yards, and a touchdown. He had, I think, 1 rush for 3 yards. So not cool from his dual threat standpoint. James Conner actually had a pretty good game, 18 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. And Marvin Harrison Jr. had 5 receptions for 45 yards and a touchdown. So there's your 2 touchdowns there for the Cardinals. Anyway, I'm not going to say anything more about the Cardinals. My final surprise of the week, which some people may not think this is a surprise. I think it's a surprise because I wanted the Bills to do much better than what they showed. But the Ravens beat the Bills 35-10. Fantastic. Ravens on Sunday night wearing all black in Baltimore. Yeah, that is a recipe for greatness right there. Ravens bounce back. Obviously, they're back to normal. I think they're going to be fine. Lamar Jackson went 13 for 18, 156 yards passing with 2 passing touchdowns. Also 6 carries, 54 yards, and a rushing touchdown. So 3 total touchdowns. Great production from Lamar Jackson. But better production from Derrick Henry, I would say. 24 carries for 199 yards, including that 87-yard rushing touchdown. Also 3 receptions, 10 yards, and a touchdown. Justice Hill actually played a really good place in this game. 4 carries for 18 yards on the ground, but out of the backfield, they had 6 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. So awesome production from Justice Hill there. The receivers didn't really do much. Mark Andrews, I have him on my fantasy team. Turns out that Mark Andrews was a horrible pick in fantasy, so that's fantastic. I'm going to be dropping him for sure. Secondly, I'm thinking the Bills just hit a tiny speed bump. They played the Ravens. I think they're going to end up playing the Ravens in the playoffs, and it's just going to be an issue. So Bills, they hit a tiny speed bump. Like I said, I think they'll bounce back next week. Josh Allen did not have a good game, 16 for 29 for 180 yards. James Cook, 9 carries for 39 yards, and Ty Johnson had their only touchdown from open play, 1 carry for 3 yards and a touchdown. So not the best showing from the Bills, but that's okay. So there have been my surprises of Week 4, NFL Week 4. It was a good slate of games. For my bias only, the Packers, I think, should have beaten the Vikings. They were down 28-0 at one point, 28-7 at half, scoring before the half. And then the second half was all Packers. Jordan Love, his first game back after Week 1, had a rough game. He threw for almost 400 yards, threw over 50 times, so a lot of passing. But obviously, when you're down 28-0, you're going to be passing the ball. So yeah, it was an okay showing. The Vikings crumbled in the second half. They only scored 3 points, so the game ended 31-29. But yeah, it was an entertaining NFC North game. NFC North is probably going to be the best division in football this year, so that's fantastic. Moving into the Thursday night football picks of interest, we have the Falcons playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going to be a very good NFC South game. This is actually going to be a very nice Thursday night primetime game, which is a really good change of pace. My picks of interest are as following. I have them scrolling on the screen at the bottom. The first pick I'm going to be going over is this Kirk Cousins pick. So from there, it's going to be in order. So Kirk Cousins higher than 226.5 passing yards. He's hit higher on this line in his past 3 games. His past 3 games again have been against New Orleans, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. So not too shabby teams. Not too shabby of teams on the defensive side of the ball. So I would expect him to hit over on this. The Buccaneers have an okay defense. But in the end, it is Kirk Cousins. So next, I'm going to go Bijan Robinson, higher than 66.5 rushing yards. Tampa Bay defense as a whole is giving up 131.5 rushing yards per game, but also 5 yards per rush, which is pretty influential. I know Atlanta has a 2-back system, as do a ton of teams in the NFL now. But Bijan Robinson higher than 66.5 rushing yards, I think, maybe a good line to go with. Obviously, these are picks of interest, and I'm recording this on a Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning at like 6:30 a.m. So these picks probably are gonna shift a little bit as injury reports come out, as it gets closer to the game. So keep an eye on these. on these specific lines, but I'm not expecting them to change all too much. Oh my goodness, big yawn. Third pick of interest, I got Mike Evans higher than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. I also have that for Chris Godwin higher than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. One of those two receivers are always due for a receiving touchdown. Neither of them really get any rushing attempts, but one of those two guys always have a receiving touchdown. So pick whatever guy you have a hunch for on the day. Usually Mike Evans gets their number one corner, so I would lean a little bit more towards Chris Godwin, but again, you never know. And then my last two picks are dealing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers running backs. I got Rachaad White, possibly higher than 33.5 rushing yards. Atlanta's defense is giving up a total of 145.5 rushing yards per game, so that is very intriguing to go with. And then lastly, I got Bucky Irving higher than 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. He's been playing pretty well recently, so we'll end up going with that. So this is it for the episode. I think this is going to be it. I think next week I'm going to be going over long shot picks. I think I'm going to do some long shot picks, long shot ideas on the Instagram. So if you're not following the only the over Instagram, go down below, follow the Instagram. There's going to be some reels on there about all these possible long shot picks. Those will go out the morning of the game. Or the picks for the game themselves will go out the morning, but then the long shots will go, later in the day. So yeah. Oh, also, my Sunday NFL picks. If you do follow the Instagram, you saw in the story, I actually won a slate. I won a slate after a streak of about. Actually, I think I have Underdog open right now. I'll tell you how many slates I lost in a row here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We lost 10 slates in a row. 10, pick'ems in a row. A couple of them were off, by one pick. I took a flex on a couple 6-mans, a couple 5-mans. A couple of them are off by one pick, which is unfortunate. So that just happens. Like I had one 5 picks when it was Falcons-Eagles. And I think that's the one where Jahan Dotson got 1 reception on the first drive of the game, and his line was higher than 2.5, and he didn't get a reception the rest of the game. So that's unfortunate. And then also there was a Sunday slate where Chargers played Carolina. They beat them by 23, but Herbert only had 130 passing yards. So that's nice. And that's when the Packers played the Colts, and I had Josh Jacobs higher than a 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdown. He fumbled at the goal line on a rushing touchdown. So those are the type of things that happen sometimes. But yeah, so what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slates lost in a row. Until we hit this one. So that's fantastic. We were playing with bonus money, so when you deposit money on Underdog, they match you, I think, up to 10%, up to 10 or 20%. So you're playing with bonus money, and then obviously if you win, you get to keep that money. So I technically haven't used any of my money yet. I've only used my winnings and my bonus money, so that's working for me. But anyways, the Sunday slate that I ended up winning on. It was a 3-pick, straight up, no flex, $5 to win $23.10. And I had Joe Burrow higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. He had 2. Patrick Mahomes promo pick higher than 0.5 total yards. He only had 40 total yards, so that's fantastic. And then Brock Purdy higher than 246.5 passing yards. He ended up with 277 passing yards. So that was nice. It was a nice win to wake up to, and I think a buddy of mine ended up winning $70 last night on Monday Night Football. On Monday Night Football. So that was pretty nice to see. So everyone was winning this week. So yes. Anyways, this has been episode 5 of Only the Over. I believe it's 5. If it isn't 5, I apologize. I said the correct episode at the beginning of the episode. So yeah, thank you for coming out to Only the Over. If you haven't already, rate the podcast on Spotify, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, and if you're not, follow the Instagram, follow the Only the Over Instagram down below. All right, we'll see you on Saturday morning. Take it easy. Peace.